It is the 5-year anniversary of the Kalamazoo bike tragedy that killed 5 cyclists and injured 4 others.
Our Lauren Coomer today spoke to one of the survivors and brings us details on what has changed since that time.
5 years ago, around 6:30 in the evening, a group of 9 cyclists were riding up this hill when a driver under the influence hit them with his pickup truck. Since that day, one of the survivors says he's been helping push for change in legislation to help keep other cyclists safe.
I want to give my life for the people that murdered and were killed and maimed and everything else, and I just want to say I'm free.
It's been 5 years to date since Charles Pickett Jr. hit and killed 5 cyclists and injured 4 others with his pickup truck in Cooper Township.
I remember pretty much the whole route, coming up Northwest Nidge and going up the hill towards Mark and Glen. I remember going past Mark and Glen and seeing the signs. It's hard for me to actually pin the timeline, but I remember prior, as we were going up that hill, people yelling, "Car back."
Car back, a term cyclists use to notify the rest of the riders a car is approaching. That's one of the last things he remembers before he woke up in a hospital bed. Out of the 9 cycling that day, 5 were killed. Tony Nelson, Larry Pollock, Debbie Bradley, Susanna Sipple, and Melissa Fevia Hughes. Runnels still saying he thinks about them.
In a lot of ways, just about every time I get on my bike, when I bought a new bike, bought it down at Pedal, and I had them make a decal that has everybody's name on it.
I think it brought to light with that tragedy that we need to do a little bit more for the safety of cyclists. And so I think that while that was tragic, I think some good came of that.
Paul Guymond is the vice president for the Kalamazoo Bike Club and says local lawmakers have been working since that day to keep cyclists safe.
We all understand that there's a risk when we're going to ride our bikes on the road. I think we also understand that that risk could be lessened if cars would understand that we need a little bit more space.
It's something Michigan legislators listened to when a state senator from Kalamazoo introduced a bill to create a 5-foot passing law.
All 4 of us went up and testified and read statements supporting the 5-foot passing law. As it turns out, what actually got passed was a 3-foot passing law, which is not the best, but it's better than what we'd had before.
Additional legislation was also passed, making it mandatory to spend an hour in driver's training on vulnerable roadway users. But Runnels says more needs to be done.
Distracted driving, I think, is probably the biggest threat to all vulnerable roadway users, whether it's a runner, a bicyclist, a walker.
Folks saw the tragedy and are trying their best to help make Kalamazoo a safe place to cycle.
A group of cyclists with the Kalamazoo Bike Club are planning on holding a memorial ride on Tuesday at 6 p.m. They're riding the same route that the group of 9 were riding that day. Reporting in Kalamazoo County, Lauren Coomer, Fox 17 News.